Alright, so today we're going to do a cool typography poster in Photoshop using a picture of a famous person or an actor, actress, or musician, somebody that's inspirational to you, as well as a quote of theirs or song lyrics if you find them moving. I'm going to use an image of Michelle Obama and a quote of hers. So the picture is going to turn out best when when it is when the person's looking straight at you, especially if it's like a close up like this, really close to the face. I'm going to use this graphic. So make sure you grab your image, and if you remember, you type in your image search, click image, and say search tools, and say large. So then we get all the large photos. So they're high quality. You can see here it's 1024 by 768 pixels big, so it's a good size image. So I'm going to select view image to get the big high quality graphic. There we go. And I'm going to save it. And I've already saved it, but I would save it. Make sure it's going to my desktop, that I know where it's going, and I click save. Okay, so there it is. And I'm going to use this quote. Success isn't about much money you make, it's about the difference you make in people's lives. Okay, so I know the quote and I have my picture. So go ahead and just drag it to your Photoshop. Drag it into Photoshop. There you go. And it'll just pop up. You can also go here to File, Open, and find your image. This is what we will be creating. Something along those lines. Okay, so here's my picture. So since it's in color, I'm going to make it black and white by hitting Command or Control, Shift, and U. So Command, Shift, U if you're on a Mac, or Control, Shift, U if you're on a PC. Alright, so I made it black and white. And now I'm going to I'm going to use one of the selection tools to cut her out of the background. So I'm going to use the quick selection tool. So you see here, if you click on it and hold it, or if you right click, our options show up. So I'm going to do the quick selection tool. Okay, and you can adjust the size here. So you'll notice if I click and click on the parts, it'll start selecting her body, and I want to get all of her. But you'll notice here that it did a portion I don't want. So to deselect an area that I don't want, you hit Alt or Option, and then it turns into a minus. But you have to work at it, because you can see here it's kind of, the shadow is messing with me. So that looks pretty good. And then again, take that part out. Okay. Oops. If you hit Command or Control plus, you can zoom in. Command or Control minus, you zoom out. So I just zoomed in so I can get a little bit closer. And I'm going to make my thing smaller. So you will work. This takes a little bit of practice. You want to try to get as much of them as you can without having awkward arm cutouts. Okay. So I need to get up here on her head. Okay, I'm going to ignore those pieces of hair. Okay, looks like I got her all. So now we're going to click Refine Edge up here. And you'll see, whoo, it's not that great, but it's okay. You can change your view here to say black on black or black on white. Let's do black on black. And then I'm going to select Smart Radius and adjust my radius to 3.3. And then I just drag around the hair here. We're just going to make the hair kind of a little bit more refined. Okay, and actually I think you can see it better if it's like this. So on the red. Okay, and I'm going to also adjust my edge. I'm going to put a 2 and a 2. So it makes this a little smoother. Okay, then make your output new document with layer mask. Okay, and then push OK. Alright, so here we go. So now, it's okay if this isn't perfect. We're gonna use it for something else, so don't worry about it. But now you're going to make a new document. So either select Control or Command N, and you can name this guy Poster. Make sure you have inches and select 12 by 16 inches with 300 resolution. Make your background white. Push OK. And now I'm going to use my paint bucket tool and make sure my foreground color here is black. And then I paint my background. And now I'm going to drag my face over here. I'm going to use my move tool. I'm going to grab it and drag it. Oh, make sure my layer is selected. Grab it and drag it up to the poster tab. And then once it switches over, I'm going to hold down Shift and drop it in the middle. Alright, so it shows up kind of small here. I centered it in the middle of my document. So what I'm going to do is select Control or Command T to bring up my transform box. And then you can hold Option or Alt with Shift. And it centers it and makes it perfect so you don't lose any of its shape. Then hit Return or Enter when you're done, and you can move it around. So I'm going to do that again. Command or Control T, Option Shift. Let me get really close. Okay, so get it positioned how you want. And now we're going to set up our rulers and our snap, and I'll show you what that means in a second. So go ahead and go to View and make sure Rulers and Snap is selected. So rulers are right here. If I had my rulers unselected, you'll see those disappear. So rulers, okay? And if I click on my ruler here and drag, you see this line? That's a ruler. It's going to snap to the middle. Cool. Now I can use my move tool here and kind of nudge it a little bit if I want, so she's on that line. Okay. So now I want to, well, if your ruler, or if your guideline's not there for some reason, you could do Command or Control H. Oops, I'm sorry. Command or Control, and then the colon, which is next to the L, shows it. Okay. So now we want to get a rectangle marquee tool And from up here, make sure your guide's showing. You're going to make a rectangle just on this half of your picture. And then you want to make a new layer by clicking right here, this little icon next to the trash can. Alright, so assuming your foreground color right here is black, we have our ruler, our marquee box, we're on the right layer. We're going to hit Alt or Option and delete. And it filled in a little, it filled in our rectangle with black. Okay, so now do Command or Control D to deselect. And then we can also hide that guide by Command or Control the colon. Okay, so now is the fun stuff. We're going to get the horizontal tool, text tool, and choose a sans serif bold font. So I'm going to use Impact. And you want to make your font 50, between 50 and 100. I'm going to go with 50, then make it sharp. And since we're going to be writing on the left side here, I'm going to select the right justification alignment tool, and I want to make my font white. Okay, so let's go back to this quote here. Success isn't about how much. So let's start here. Success, Success isn't about how much, you know. Okay, so write 2 or 3 lines, and you see how the spacing here between these sentences are kind of overlapped? That's the leading. The spacing between your sentences or between your lines is the leading, and we're going to adjust that by going to Window, Character. You see this shows, and right here, this is the space between your lines. So we want to highlight it, and I like to just mirror what is already there. So that's 50 is my font size, so I'm going to make my leading 50 as well. See, it even says set the leading. Okay, let me go. I'm going to delete this little space. Oh, not that one. Up. That one. So it's all how much money. Let's see. How much money you make. It's about the difference you make in people's lives. It's about the difference you make in people's lives. And then I'm going to put who said it. Okay. So once you've typed it, you can use the move tool to kind of nudge it over a little bit and put it where you want it. You know what? I'm going to move this down. No. Isn't. Oh, that's too much. So you just want a few letters or a few words on each one. Okay, that's better. Alright, so now you're going to do Command or Control Command or Control and click on the text tool here, or text layer, sorry. You can see how it selected your text. Alright, so this is going to be exciting. So what you do now is you hide that, and then you select So you have the text layer, select the layer 2 or that layer with your black box on it, and you hit delete. And then Control or Command D to deselect. And you see your text is there now as part of the picture. Alright, and so we're going to make it a little easier to read the text now. So what you need to do, click your face, make sure the face layer is active, and go to your dodge tool, which is this guy right here. Up here in the options, let's change the hardness. Make sure the hardness is 0. You want your exposure to be 100%. We want this protect tones to be selected. And we want to select the range to be shadows. And you can adjust the size as well. And then go ahead and hover or kind of brush on your text. You see how it kind of lightens it up. Oops. Okay. Just do that until you can read it. Move it back a little bit. You don't want to do it too much because it'll dilute the actual graphic behind it. Okay. So do that, and then you can also go here and do the midtones and bring that into it as well. But I'm actually doing it too much. But y'all see, you can mess around with it. All right. Okay. Cool. So once you got it the way that you like it, go ahead and we're going to create a border to finish. So what you need to do is click on your layer with the text on it, or the layer with the black box, I'm sorry, and go down here and select a new layer, so it's going to show up right above it. Get your paint bucket and select white as your foreground. It probably is already white because of our text tool before. So with your bucket, paint, and it's going to cover it, but that's okay. Go ahead and change the fill all the way to 0. So it's not going to show, but it's going to show some of the things we do in a second. So now, double click on your actual layer here so that your layer style panel comes up. Select inner glow and choose your blend mode to be normal, your opacity to be 40, your choke to be 100, and the size choose 70. Okay, you see how it's making this thin border here? Now select stroke, and we're going to make it 62. Tell it to be on the inside, and we want our blend mode to be lighten. And then push OK. You can see this cool thin line right here. Alright, so that is it. Go ahead and go up to File, Save As, and you're going to save it wherever you want. I'm going to save it to the desktop. I would recommend the desktop or your flash drive. Change your format to a JPEG, and then name it Typography Poster. And then click Save, and it might prompt you with something else here. Okay. Alright, and then here's your picture. I did it kind of quickly, so this isn't as much, I don't love this here, but hopefully you guys can play around with it to get your text to look awesome. All right. The end.